Hi. So I'm recording this in a different way, so it'll be a different format than the last video I recorded, but I wanted to share with you this week my journey with healing and how far I've come and why I've gotten into this work. In case that you're new here, or you don't know me, or you don't know my story, I wanted to be able to share that with you guys. And the easiest way to do this was in this video format. So the quality is okay. I do have, even though it's my story, I do have some notes that I wrote just so that I wouldn't forget anything. So if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes so that I don't forget anything that I wanted to share with you that felt really important when preparing to talk with you on this video. I want to keep this channel and the format here really down to earth and conversational, right? Like every part of me would love to make really high-end, beautifully done videos, and I'm just not there yet. So you'll just get to watch my growth and in video editing and formatting and things like that. This used to prohibit me from recording these videos, but the thing was that I've been asked a lot to make videos on YouTube, and there was a time when I had like high-tech equipment, was trying to do this, and just couldn't keep up. So instead of not producing anything at all, I think it's really important that I show up here in whatever format that is. So enough excuses. I'm here today to talk to you about my journey. So my past, my present, and hopefully what I hope for my future. We're going to try to keep this pretty brief, even though this has felt like a very lengthy introduction into what my healing journey has been all about. So let's start in my 20s, right? We could start even younger, but maybe that'll be a different video for a different time, because I'm just really going to start into my 20s and who I was in my 20s as an adult, fully fledged adult, and then into where I am now, almost in my 40s. So in my 20s, I just wanted to live it up. And I had gotten married and then divorced really young. I was just really inexperienced and did not really realize a lot of things. I was very unaware of myself. And after my divorce, I treated my body and my mind and my soul really badly. And so maybe you're someone who can resonate with this, and maybe you lived it up in your 20s as well. It was a time where I smoked cigarettes. I smoked about a pack a day. I was drinking coffee instead of water. I was going out dancing in clubs, and everything was really internal at that point in my life. And some people say that that's just normal for when you're in your 20s, that you're kind of self-absorbed and things like that. But I truly believe that I was almost a bit narcissistic, now looking back and being able to see myself in a much clearer lens. This was all done unintentionally, of course, despite the fact that I was a people pleaser, like a really serious people pleaser, and deeply, deeply insecure. I was also a bit narcissistic and self-absorbed, just living in this internal world, right? Like had really very little kind of recognition of the outside world, even though I was living for the outside world's approval. I was living to, I was working in a nonprofit and loved helping people and had a great heart. It was like I just wasn't there mentally, I guess. Looking back now, I just think I just wasn't very conscious. And I wasn't very awake or aware or able to really self-reflect in a way. Although I was self-absorbed, I wasn't self-reflective. And so I was looking for love in all the wrong places or right places for me at the time, instead of going inside. So as I said, I was, eating fast foods, drinking tons of coffee, smoking cigarettes, and this was due really this most people were very surprised at the time that I smoked, and most people are very surprised now to hear that I was such an avid, cigarette smoker, but really what I was looking for was breath. And I can see that really clearly now, reflectively, why I had picked up smoking is because I was looking to calm my nervous system. I had a really dysregulated nervous system. I was constantly in fight or flight. Since I was a child, I had really high cortisol, and you can tell that by just the areas that you keep fat in your body. And I was always looking for some relief. I was chronically anxious and stressed, and I just wanted some relief. And smoking kind of helped give me that breath, right? And I could be outside, right? You're not going to smoke inside. I'm young enough that there was not smoking inside. They just changed the laws. And so you get to go outside, get to take a breath. Okay, that was what I was really looking for, but I didn't realize that. And so I used that as an excuse. I also spent my 20s working multiple jobs. All of them were very demanding and required all of me, really all of me. So I had my primary job, which was being one of the youngest executive directors in the area that I lived in, and winning awards for my work as an executive director, and also resource development director and things like that. I also had supporting roles in nonprofit management, as well as leading roles in nonprofit management, and was getting lots of recognition. I was headhunted for every job that I took, and really that was my primary job, and I was working super hard. And I was also working side jobs. So I was also, waitressing and nannying and doing things like that on the side as well to make extra money, because I was barely making ends meet with my nonprofit salary and supporting myself, and having, addictions like smoking so expensive now that I look back on it. And I really wanted to eat what I wanted to. If I wanted sushi, I didn't want to have to like cut corners or things like that. Or if I want to go through the drive-through, and then bills and all this kind of stuff. And I was by myself and learning how to manage money and things like that. And all of this really took a toll on me. So I already had a super dysregulated nervous system from my childhood and my teens and things like that. And then you add onto it like super high stress, high pressure, fast paced jobs, all that required a lot of responsibility and attention. And those were really demanding, and just continued to dysregulate my nervous system even more. And I became very ill. And mentally, I worked with a lot of different kinds of doctors and wanted to get on different kinds of medicines. I didn't like how any depressants made me feel. And so I ended up visiting all sorts of health professionals, psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, you name it. I was seeing them to try to find some relief for how I was feeling. I was just feeling so out of control all the time, and physically I was so ill as well. I was seeing specialists and getting diagnosis like things like chronic immune deficiencies, autoimmune autoimmune diseases, which were all just, they didn't have a specific one for me. They just said you're like a snowflake, like, I don't know, I guess it's hereditary, we're not sure. But also, what I consider kind of like a junk diagnosis of fibromyalgia, which is like, we don't know what's wrong with you, you're really something. Which now I kind of look back on and think almost all of that was due to a dysregulated nervous system from being burnt out, from being chronically stressed and overworked. So um, you know all of this, kind of was coming to a head, as well as I was engaging in toxic relationships with almost every single person in my life. I was extremely codependent, and all these relationships were not there to help me in my life. I was working to be of service to everyone, overgive, people please, but really resentful, and so codependent, just incredibly codependent. And now I can see that like I was not my own person. I was totally living for everyone else and their approval and what they thought of me. And this ended up making me feel really bad about myself. And I spent my free time mostly collapsing on the couch every night, participating in any activity that would help me veg out, or just check out within reason. Obviously, I wasn't doing like any hardcore drugs or anything like that, thank God. But I was really not doing anything to help myself. You know, now that I've adopted so many different tools, I kind of look back and I just want to help that person. I think about her and I just want to help her and give her the tools that I know now. But anyway, I had a lot of different things happen to me to continue to escalate this to the point of where I truly feel that I almost had a nervous breakdown. And that, you know, I got as far as I could to that line without being formally admitted to a hospital and having that diagnosis of having a nervous breakdown. And I just told my husband I can no longer go on and I need a change. And like I'm gonna die if we don't do something. So he agreed to let us quit our jobs and sell everything or give everything away. We actually sold very little. Now that I look back on it, I'm thinking to myself like, wow, we really gave away almost everything we owned. We sold the big things like our car and our house, but everything else we just kind of gave away. And I asked my husband to just trust the universe, which this was crazy out of his comfort zone. But I just said, let's quit our jobs, let's trust the universe, and let's go to Maine for a month to figure it out. And we had enough in our savings account to be able to go do that. Not very comfortably, but just for like a super short period of time. And I just spent the month sleeping and healing from burnout. So I took a lot of bubble baths and I watched a lot of Little House on the Prairie and I slept and I just looked at the water, and we were just right on the Maine coast and rented a lovely A-frame and took walks out in nature and just needed that time. And then about 2 months later, my husband took a job as a traveling tech in the medical field, and I began consulting for businesses, being an award-winning executive. And having a communications degree, I was looking to help some people that I knew and did some consulting, and also began teaching English as a second language. And then we started traveling and everything felt a lot better. And I felt like I could start doing some personal development and self-care consistently. I could create kind of my own schedule and everything felt like it was getting so much better. And then 2 months into this, COVID hit. And I got laid off from my consulting gigs, and my husband got his work increased, obviously working in the medical field, which left me with tons of free time on my hands. And I felt deeply called to enroll in school. I'd already had my Reiki attunement and felt very called to get my Reiki master certification. And I really felt called, like a lot of people, I think, to dive into the world of spirituality. And I spent 2020 getting certified in as many different spirituality avenues as that hit my intuition. So I got certified in angelic healing, advanced angelic healing, and then chakra energy healing and balancing. And I also enrolled in many programs with different healers to heal myself. And I remember at the time feeling really frustrated because I knew where I was going. Like I had this really very eagle's eye view of where I was going and what I was doing, but I also was really impatient with my own healing process in this, knowing that you know, this was something that had been boiling under the surface for a really long time, and that this was something that, you know, crystals and Reiki and yoga and spirituality had always been calling to me since I was a teenager. And a lot of practical things got in the way instead. So there were things like, well, you can't do that for a living, so you have to do other things and climb the corporate ladder. And, you know, my people-pleasing tendencies, I just listened to what everyone said and didn't listen to this inner calling for who I really wanted to be. And, you know, there was a lot of beliefs around like, you can never make this work, you'll never be able to run a business doing this. And like, you know, who do you think you are and things like that. But when I enrolled in all these certification programs, I really quickly intuitively knew that this was something that I've known for many a lifetimes. If you're someone who believes in that kind of thing, if you're not, it's just something that I picked up very quickly. Like, I kind of attributed it to both, that this was just like intuitively what I was supposed to be doing, that I was really doing this work in the nonprofit field, um, in just a very different way, and that now I had the formal training around it to be able to start doing it. And TikTok was just starting, and I felt really called to share energy healing on TikTok. Um, and I felt this deep call to start a spiritual business, but I knew it wasn't just about spirituality. I knew it was about all the different pieces that make up a person. You know, when I was so burnt out and stressed out and overworked and um, everything, you know, in my life was falling apart, it wasn't just one thing that was going to help me. It wasn't just fixing my diet, quitting smoking, you know, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't just focusing on my physical that would have helped me. It wasn't just diving into therapy and counseling and shadow work and core wounds and all this kind of you know, nervous system repair that was going to help. It wasn't just looking at the spirituality piece. It wasn't just I wasn't going to be healed by crystals and oracle cards and talking to the angels. That just wasn't. I knew really quickly that this isn't what this was all about, and I started Wise Holistic Healing, knowing that it was going to take me some time, but that what my mission was to get to learn from as many different disciplines as possible. And I went on to learn, Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic practitioner, and became an Ayurvedic practitioner, as well as now a certified yoga teacher and personal trainer, and working on finishing up a nutrition certification and health coach, but I started, I enrolled in school full time and started my business, and I was used to working 3 or 4 jobs. So this didn't really feel that different to me. It actually felt like a breath of fresh air because I was doing all the things that I'd always been so interested in. And, when I was a teenager, what I used to do for fun was to magazines, like hardcover, like you could hold them. Magazines were really popular at this time. And I'm kind of dating myself for sure. Because we didn't have the internet, we didn't have Pinterest or anything like that. And so what I would do is I would get lots of subscriptions to different magazines, and I would rip out all these different articles about different things, and I would classify them in binders. So there was like a body binder, you know what I mean? It was all about nutrition and health and wellness and how to help your body. And then there was one all about mindset and, all this kind of personal growth type things. And then there was one all about spirituality. And, it's so interesting that once all these things started falling into place, how clearly I could see that this path was always meant to be, and I was always meant to be doing this work. And so I started my business, and I started doing videos on TikTok, and I gained about 20,000 followers. And every single client ended up coming to me from social media. And the clients that I worked with were just some of the most beautiful, wonderful, magical people. And I was just so excited and very blessed to work with such amazing people. And now here I am, almost close to 4 years into my business, and it's just really neat to watch the evolution of time has to pass, and it's just I was really impatient for a really long time, but now I can see how much I've grown just as a person, how much I've grown as a healer and coach, and how all of this has been really truly divinely brought to me and aligned. And so for the future, what I look forward to is just building more on this and continuing to better myself. I think I'll be doing this up until I'm probably 80 or 90 years old, continuing to learn, continuing to grow, because I think once you learn something, you realize how much more you have to learn. This is something that I found true, that once I learn a new different discipline, like hypnosis, I'm like, oh, great, now I need to learn NLP, and then I need to learn this, and I need to learn that. And it just starts a beautiful spiral, I will say, like an absolutely beautiful spiral of new things that there are to learn and how I can better serve my clients. So um, now this year, I don't know when you're watching this, but if you're watching this in 2023, um, my big goal is to heal my body. And I started at the beginning of the year, which sounds super cliche, but I kind of did start a little before then, even, and really have been all in. And it's really exciting to watch the consistency build. So here I am. It's now almost May of 2023. And I started in November of 2022, pretty seriously, although I've been on this journey for a long time, of healing my body, but really doubling down and, getting certified in a lot of different areas, as well as practicing what I preach. It's really important. Even today, I had a conversation with a friend, and she said, you're really going super hard. Like, this is crazy. Like, it is insane. And I was like, yeah, because I want to practice what I preach. And it's really important to me that I work out every day, and it's really important to me that I eat veggies every day, and it's really important to me that I drink the amount of water that I'm supposed to, and it's really important to me that I meditate, that I clear my energy, that I, do all these different things that I tell other people to do, that I'm actually showing up and doing those things for myself, because otherwise you're just on a soapbox. And so I'm in the healing process just as much as anybody else, while also helping people guide themselves out of burnout, of toxic body patterns. When I was, I'll just briefly touch on this, but when I was a child, I had a really bad relationship with my weight, and with food in general, and with exercise in general. And that'll be a different video for another time, I'm sure. But those things got really deeply ingrained in me, and it took a long time to really unravel a lot of that. And that's what I'm, excited to start working with clients and doing. And, I've worked with a few clients now who have said, your approach is so crazy different, and I love it. I am so here for it, because I'm here for long-term results. I'm not here for quick fixes. So, personally, I've lost 25 pounds, and it's great, but that's not what this is about. This isn't about weight loss. This is about radiant health for me. It's always been about radiant health, and it will always be about radiant health, which is holistic, that's body, mind, and soul. So um, that's really where I am here in the present, where I'm headed in the future, and where my past has been. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please comment down below if anything resonated with your own journey. I'd love to hear that. I'm not here just to share. I'm also here to hear about you, and hopefully you got something out of this video. And yeah, I look forward to doing more videos for you guys. I do have a little bit of a plan in place, just so that I have some ideas written down, because I really would like to consistently show up on this channel. But if you have anything that you'd like to see, I can forego my plans, and I'd love to show up for you and do videos on things that you'd like. So thank you for being here again, and much love.